Live. See how people are doing. Hope microphone's okay because we didn't do a sound check. Because there's a lot of shit going on, a lot of balls in the air, trying to juggle them. Getting ready for a friend Christmas party. Bum, ba-dum, bum. I hope microphone's okay. Had to go to the grocery store and buy stuff to make a boss-ass salad. But that also means didn't have a lot of time to prep for the stream. We were streaming 11 hours ago. And we're back. I know that is 10 hours too many of a break, but I forgive myself. And I do not forgive any of you. I'll let some people gather. Technically, the stream was supposed to start for one more minute. We have 7 replays to get through today, my friends. How old is the model for the Kai Fireborn? No idea. Hey, Bavarat. Crown Metal, Koala, Yellow Hummus. I am not yellow, though I know you're just saying that as hello. I'll stall for a little bit longer, and then as people gather, we'll explain what's actually going on today. So hi, everybody. Hi. Tomorrow's last Faction War qualifier. We did run our first one last night for the 8 extra slots. Got 8 good, qualified people. Chaos Dwarves ended up running the whole thing. He's cream-colored? What? I'm not cream-colored. I guess maybe I am. It's fine. Chrome Metal getting back-to-back, human boy. This stream will be shorter than the Faction War stream. We're just doing 7 replays that I already have in front of me that you can see. That's why there's no blocker, as these were organized ahead of time. So it is a quote-unquote best of 7, though all 7 games will be played, whether it's 7-0 or whether it's 3-4. I do have the scorecard at the top. And this is where we transition into actually talking about the event. If people aren't here, then fuck them. Okie dokie. So there's essentially 2 teams, right? There's 7 raid bosses, piloted by Pigman202, Strat Game, Stormrunner, the Green One, Berserk, Sipa, and myself, versus a horde of degenerates, usually newer players. I fought Lulu Snugglebun, Stitler, and Tremor. Button Eyes Mark, Krellmetal, and Cyrus fought Sipa. Koala Duck, Uncanny Book, and Count Games fought Berserk. Mr. Chalk, Borgash, and ICG fought the Green One. Nemet, Karasi, Honor de Balzac fought Stormrunner. Dr. Nerd, Shoxy, and Bwags fought Strat Game. And Honor de Balzac, Zarkas, and Nemet fought Pigman. Grievin talking about Kadai Fireborn. They were real. Games Workshop didn't have to make a model for them. They just took it from real life and just put it in their tabletop game. Anyway, to finish explaining the event, the raid boss has 3 times the funds of any of the challengers, so the overall one side versus the other side have the same amount of money, though we have 3 people piloting things versus a singular raid boss type man person. Sound good? Alright, let's kick this off. I guess I'm first. Lucinia hosted this event. He ran it, I just am casting the results. And he numbered them, so I'm guessing they're the order they came in. It is my build versus the other 3. So my idea was to take the minimum amount of funds that was offered to the raid bus and try and limit what my opponents could bring, because you have to bring a lord. So I thought I could get them down to having their lords take up a lot of their funds and they have a smaller army, and then I picked a faction that I knew could handle single entity spam. Because if they went with a bunch of lords, because I didn't know what my opponents were going to bring when I picked Chaos Dwarves and declared the funds, but I was like, I mean, when I saw they have high elves, I was like, okay, cool, I can bring like a bunch of Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses if they go with Imric on a dragon with a life Slann or something. Now, I was wrong about that. They went fucking Eltharion and a metal Slann, but the idea is there. So for the raid boss army, mine, I believe I had 18k funds. I have a front line of Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Hobgoblin Cutthroats, just want them to hold for a bit. Some Orc Laborers on the side, though not a lot. Triple Bull Centaur Render with great weapons. A Sorcerer Prophet of Fire on foot, because I don't personally enjoy the Bale Taurus mount. I think it is overpriced and makes you more vulnerable. I think being on foot is safer, but maybe that's just me. Dash Trigger Rocket Launcher to pressure the enemy into my Infernal Guard with Fireglaves, 4 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, and that is it. Heavy metal, lots of shooting. Yee. Okay, just making sure that message wasn't about this. On the other side, for my opponents, we do have a High Elf Tomb King's Lizardmen Alliance, which is honestly not an unbelievable alliance. They're all 3 Order factions. 1 Dragon Prince paired up with Eltharion, and then a Silverhelm component for the High Elves. For the Tomb Kings, we have archers, 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 archers. 5 of them, including the Blessed Legion of Flach, Chosen of the Gods, Ushapti Great Bows, and Kotep on its DJ booth. So it looks like they're doing the sub-commander plot. The High Elves brought the Cav, Tomb Kings brought the ranged, and then Lizardmen brought the front line in Skink Cohorts, Saurus Warriors, and a Slann of Metal with Final Transmutation as his only spell, and then Croxagores too. Cool. Upon seeing Kotep, I realized that I need to get cooldowns as fast as possible, so I need to kill him, and immediately my Deathstreak Rocket Launcher is going to go into single-shot mode and start firing at Kotep until he is dead, because whenever he casts a spell, I can't, and I need those spells, gosh dang it. Flaming Sword of Ruin and Cascading Fire Cloak to help my front line last a little bit longer, but also to buff up my Infernal Guard Fire Glaives and my Deathstreak Rocket Launcher's damage. And I do have the Flaming Sword of Ruin to give my Bull Centaur Renders fire attacks, which then the Kindle Flame passive will actually buff them up. Tomb Kings are Order? Yeah, Tomb Kings are Order. They hate other undead, and they hate chaos. Boom! Big shot onto Kotep. And I think he's the only form of healing. No, Eltharion has Apotheosis, so Eltharion could maybe save Kotep from his fate, but the Slann can't. Front lines are colliding. Saurus Warrior is going to meet the steel of Chaos Dwarf Warriors. And this is one thing that I am going to struggle with quite a lot, is my blunderbusses will not help my front line at all. Bull Centaur Renders will have to bring up a bit of that mantle, and my Infernal Guard and Fireglaves are not enjoying the pressure they're getting from the Chosen of the Gods already. Silverhelms are sweeping in. I send out some Bull Centaur Renders to meet them in combat. Meanwhile, 2 Bull Centaur Renders are heading to the left flank to try and kill the Dragon Princes and Eltharion. I'm a little less worried about Silverhelms than Dragon Princes. Silverhelms don't have good armor piercing, so my blunderbusses, you can see, they just take the charge, and I don't even care. Rear charging my front line is a little more problematic, and I'm enjoying that a lot less, but Kotep's time on this earth is running out. Blunderbuss is trying to fire at the Slann as my other blunderbusses get involved too. They're going to shoot at Croxagores, but a really good banishment cast should stop me from deleting those Croxagores, as it'll knock my guys down for a bit. Second Bull Centaur Render is coming over here after realizing they're going after my front line and not my ranged units. Meanwhile, 1 Bull Centaur Render was going after Eltharion Dragon Princes, then they started to run away, and then when they turned around and came back, they caught me off guard and got a free charge on my Bull Centaur Renders, but I do have some Orc Laborers going to help out. Deathstreak Rocket Launcher has almost finished off Kotep. He might start crumbling from that shot, and that'll be pretty huge for me, but the Croxagores and the Slann have taken out 2 of my missile units. We have a Shattered and we have a Routing Blunderbuss. This other Blunderbuss might shatter too soon. Croxagores stop and try to fight my Lord, which is a mistake, fools! Because I do have the little Chalice of Healy Heals, so whenever the Slann or Kotep or Eltharion cast spells, I do get a big ol' heal. For my shooting, I still have 1 Blunderbuss online, still have 2 Fireglaves, and another Blunderbuss over there, so 2 and 2. My Bull Centaur Renders, even though they got charged, are actually demolishing the Dragon Princes, and now going back to fight Eltharion. The Tomb Kings still have all of their archers online. I do throw some Bull Centaur Renders into the backfield to try and shut some of them down. My Deathstreak Rocket Launcher has now moved on to the Slann Rage Piece of Metal, and the High Elves are realizing that thing needs to be stopped. They've sent all 3 of their Silver Helms back here to try and shut it down. I have 1 Bull Centaur Render that's going to get a rear charge on them. But Silver Helms, you don't have armor piercing. It only has 70 armor, to be fair, but it's still a little tankier than they would expect. Bounce power's about dead even, and I would agree, as Bull Centaur Renders in the backfield destroyed some Dragon Princes. Now Altharian's trying to hunt them down, but they're largely ignoring him. Archers are still firing into me, and I've been mostly ignoring them throughout the course of this game. Silver Helms are peeled off by Bull Centaur Renders, and my Orc Laborers from the other side. Deathstreaker is thinking about running, but I throw him on guard mode and make him just stand and fight. Bull Centaur Renders here getting pin cushioned a bit by the Blessed Legion of Flach and then a bunch of other archers. And I do try and run them over to the Chosen, the Gods. Back there, Apotheosis healing up the Dragon Princes, but those Bull Centaur Renders just don't give a shit. The Dashing Rock Launcher gets a massive shot onto the Slaanesh Mage Priest Metal. Oh my god, that was a lot of damage. And my Infernal Guard Fireglaves are trying to turn over there and help out. The Silver Helms are entirely killed off in the backline as the Bull Centaur Renders sweep them away. And the Silver Helm's really letting the High Elves down this game so far. Slann is about to die as there's another missile heading straight for him. And these Bull Centaur Renders are messing up the Dragon Princes and Altharian! They don't give a single fuck! They got this! They're killing them! Holy shit. 2,300 value and climbing. Let's go, Bull Centaur Renders. At this point, the Slaanesh Mage is trying to get away. My Deathstreaker Alcantara gets brand new orders to fire at him one more time and kill him off before he gets out of that range. The Archers of the Tomb Kings are either running out of health or running out of ammo. The Chosen Gods got to fire all game, which was not great. And an Altharian throws down an Apotheosis to try and save himself, then an Arcane Unforging to kill off my Bull Centaur Renders. The Slann rallies only to get hit in the face by a missile. He is dead. 2 out of the 3 lords are gone. The Lizardmen's leadership now crumbles away to nothingness. Though my Infernal Guard of Fireglaves are pushed off, I still have 1 and a Blunderbuss up and alive. I have a full health Bull Centaur Render, a half health Deathstreaker Rock Launcher that is online and firing, and then my lord is chilling. Army losses starts to hit, and that is GG. First win goes to the raid bosses. Are you going to cast all of the games? Yeah, I'll cast all of them. Though I have a fast forward button if I need it. So I made some mistakes here and there because it was a lot more to micro than I'm used to. Like my Bull Centaurs getting freely charged by the Dragon Princes. I think the players played fine. The only mistake I actually noted from them is that Altharian didn't use his Apotheosis to save Katep early in the game. Because it was pretty clear I was focusing him down. He should have cast Apotheosis over there. Other than that, mistakes were pretty minor. I think the biggest problem for them, and it's not the High Elves' fault, but like, Silver Helms, Stittler got these guys some good engagements, and they just didn't deliver for him. Dragon Princes also struggled versus the Bull Centaur Renders, but like, the Silver Helms just kind of shit the bed. Like, we got a nice charge onto Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, and it didn't do any damage because they're highly armored. And then we got a good charge onto the Deathstreaker Rock Launcher, and we didn't surround it effectively, and we didn't swing, so... That one's unfortunately just Silver Helms not being a very good unit, but he played fine around them. Yeah. The Slaanesh Mage Priest of Metal was also maybe a little suspect, just a little bit, because maybe they were betting on me having more of a Hero Hammer kind of build, but... I think a Slaanesh Mage Priest of Death is just better against Chaos Dwarves, or if you're going to go Metal, go Plague of Rust and Searing Doom. Because Plague of Rust, paired with the Silver Helms, that could eliminate the Silver Helms' problem of charging my Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses getting nothing done. So, I don't know. I don't think Final Transmutation was the right spell. But overall, Lulu Snugglebuns' build was fine. Tremor's build was alright. I wonder about the Skeleton Archers versus Chaos Dwarves, because again, I'm so heavily armored that anything besides the Blessed Legion of Flach isn't going to get a ton of value. But he did a good job keeping them online all game. That was fine. So I guess I mostly had build complaints, but in-game they all played pretty fine. No issues there. How much funds do each horde have? It's up to the raid boss, and Lucinia's in chat. He can explain it better because he hosted the event. I picked the smallest number, which I believe was 18K, because I didn't want... I wanted my opponents to have less more than me to have more. Because I figured the less resources they have, the better off I am, because I'm already at a micro disadvantage, 1 versus 3 players. So I just wanted them to have less tools, and I wanted myself to have less tools, so there's less things for me to be focusing on controlling, because I'm already at a disadvantage, so why would I want to have more things? I have to update the score. Why did you just quit? Because I forgot to announce who's in this game, and I realized I couldn't do it because only Buttonized Mark's name was showing up. So game 2, we have Sipa versus Buttonized Mark, Krell Metal, and Cyrus. PE Pathetic Enterprise, but I know him as Cyrus. Okay. Let's do it. Wood Elves, Lizardmen, and Warriors of Chaos versus Slaanesh. Oh no. That sounds a little scary for old Slaanesh. And Slaanesh didn't take Nakari, so now they're fucked. It's a blob. It's a blob, it's a blob. For the Slaanesh build, before we get to the blob, we do have Chaos Warriors and Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, all of them with Hell Scourges. We have 2 Spawn, the Sibilant Slaughtercade, a Chaos Chariot that Sipa likes to use a lot. We have another Chaos Chariot of Slaanesh, a Herald of Slaanesh with Pavane, Acquiescence, and their Lash. Exalted Demonettes, it looks like 2 of them overall, including the Bringer's Beguilement. Then Chaos Knights and Hellstriders, 2 of each. On the other side, it's a bit of a blobby blob. We have some Mirror Guard and Chaos Warriors of Khorne, Chaos Warriors regular, a Mutilith Vortex Beast, a Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle with Fleshy Abundance, Durthu with Flock of Doom and Sword of Daith, a Slann Mage Priest of Life with Earthblood and Regrowth, a Solar Engine Bastildon. Oh, that's kind of cool. 2 Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards, Firebark Elders, Sacred Croc Scores, Saurus Spears, Dryads, and 1 Stinktorch Javelins. It's a tight formation, but it's actually not that blobby. They do have 3 quote-unquote archer-type units in here. And then a little artillery piece. Solid front line, but their back line is weak. If Slaanesh can get their Chaos Knights back here and charge the Dryads, they'll actually have pretty good access into the back line. I do wonder what Slaanesh is going to do about the single entities. Fast forward through the advance for just a bit as Chaos Warriors and Devoted Marauders waltz slowly in as Laser Dino tries to turn around and shoot at Hellstriders. But the Firebark Elders are standing ominously in the way of the Bastildons. We can't get a shot off. Mutilith Vortex Beast is going to be incredibly good versus Slaanesh. They're not a faction that has a lot of ranged in the first place, but Sipa brought 0 skirmish cap, so they have to kill this thing in melee. And he didn't have any spears either. The Bringers of Beguilement could do some decent damage, but oh, they're getting massacred by the Deepwood Scouts. The Swift Shiver Shards with their magic damage bypassing the physical resistance that the Demons of Slaanesh have, and they're unshielded and low armored, so it's really going poorly for them. We have a Cultist. I forgot about the Cultist, but the Cultist and the Herald are teaming up with the Mutilith Vortex Beast, getting good damage down onto it for now, since it left its infantry support behind. First of the Fury Summons is out. It's probably going to have to kill these Deepwood Scouts nice and quick before they kill off the Bringers of Beguilement. Looks like the Bringers of Beguilement are going to die soon. The Sibilant Slaughtercade struggling to get through Saurus Warriors, and the Cavalry on the back line is getting some decent damage down onto the Dryads, but they haven't penetrated the back line just yet. Mutilith Vortex Beast still taking damage. It needs a heal from either the Life Slann or the Herald of Nurgle quite soon. And there's a good rear charge in from the Hellstriders of Slaanesh. Chaos Warriors also fighting away, but Sibilant Slaughtercade are really stuck in this fight and they're not enjoying it. Sword of Daith is down, gonna get rid of some of these Devoted Marauders and Spawn, and here comes the Chaos Knight charge running through Deepwood Scouts. One of them's already dead, the other one's getting sandwiched in pretty badly, and the Mutilith Vortex Beast is taking a ton of damage. He's now rampaging out here, but he is getting a regrowth. And a Fleshy Abundance Overcast. Why an Overcast? I guess it is hitting some of the front line, too. But that is so much healing for the Mutilith Vortex Beast. Look at its health skyrocket up. Oh, that's disgusting. Slaanesh is running down most of the multi-entity models, Asaurus Spears, Dryads, Chaos Warriors of Khorne, everybody's routing, some stuff is even shattered, but the single entities are doing just fine. The Mutal Vortex Beast is better than ever. Balance power is slightly red team favorite, and I would agree that this is getting spooky. Firebark Elders getting isolated by the Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh. They'll do a lot of damage to the Firebark Elders. Their fire resist, their physical resist means nothing to the Demonettes. The Demonettes have really good armor piercing and high melee attack stats. Slaanesh has routed off most of the infantry. These brave Saurus are holding on for now, but they are the last infantry. Now the Mirror Guard are still here. Second to last infantry are in. And Slaanesh is just trying to chase down this stuff, get some army passive. Not sure how much the army passive will help you in this instance when you get down to just the single entities. And the Herald of Slaanesh is trying to snipe out the Slawn Mage Priest of Life, but not having a good time of it as some Sacred Boxigors are fighting with the Chaos Knights of Slaanesh and the Herald. Armor of Quetzal, Earthblood, and Shield of Old Ones all buffing up that Slawn, trying to keep him in this battle. There go those Saurus Warriors. We are officially down to just the Mirror Guard from multi-entity models left. Furies of Slaanesh are out, but when everything you have left to deal with is a single entity or a monster, I don't really know what the Furies are going to get done. Seems kind of brutal. What up, CJ? Hey, Aaron. More Earthbloods getting cast. Fleshy Abundance Overcast coming in. The Mirror Guard themselves are almost heal capped. Sacred Crocscore is getting healed up. And I believe this is the doom of Slaanesh. As the Mirror Guard are officially heal capped, they do get sliced apart. But the balance power is getting worse for Slaanesh, and I am forced to agree that Mutal Vortex Beast is Mortis Engine and anti-large dueling stats. He is full HP. Durthu is full HP. And ooh, bit of a mistake here. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle does leave the blob, and he is going to get isolated and killed off. We'll see if that matters. Mutal Vortex Beast is about heal capped. Sacred Crocscores are also heal capped. Everything that was in the blob is heal capped. Slaanesh has run most of the things off the map. Mutal Vortex Beast tries to go out and save its lord, but it's getting isolated, and it is heal capped almost. So if they can do any damage, that damage will start to stick, but Solar Engine, Slawn, Durthu, all just chilling. Army losses coming in real close for Slaanesh. The Mutal Vortex Beast is going to kill off a Chaos Knight of Slaanesh and a Cultist. It's also trying to peel off the Herald, and that is army losses. As a single entity, heal blob is way too good versus Slaanesh. This is why they struggled pre-Immortal Empires, as a faction was just like, Khorne, Nurgle, Kislev can all bring pretty nasty blobs. Solar Engine for the win, yeah. Exalted Demonettes did great. Not the Bringers of Galman, they got murdered by Deepwood Scouts. Spawn did fine. Chariots did okay. I noticed them running down a lot of stuff in the late game, but ended up not being super worth it. I mean, hindsight, I'm sure Sipo would change his build if he knew what he was facing, but shit happens. Durthu, 2,500 value, pretty good. Deepwood Scouts, overall good value. For Krell, Crocscores did fine. One Saurus did well. The other Saurus did not. And then for Cyrus, Mutal Vortex Beast with 4,800 value. Yeah, that sounds about right. So GG, one back for the Hordes. We're 1-1. Game 3, this is the one, when we were doing the preview last night, I was most excited about, because there's some hype shit in this matchup. Berserk going with definitely more funds. So much more funds than I did. This is a super elite army, man. Oh. Berserk on Khorne with Scarbrand, the Arwar Bloodthirster, 3 Skull Crushers, triple gold Chevron Skull Crushers, by the way. Triple gold Chevron Fleshhounds of Khorne, triple gold Chevron Rider Horseman. How many funds did he fucking take? What the hell is this? What is this? Oh, and I did it again. Sorry. Okay. So, Berserk's fighting Koala Duck, Uncanny Book, Count Games. Got it. Berserk with the balls deep 30k. Dude, it looks like it. He has triple gold chevron flesh hounds, triple gold chevron marauder horse throwing axes, triple gold chevron skull crushers, and then 4 chosen of Khorne, one of which has dual weapons, 3 exalted bloodletters, one of which is a hellforged host. Oh, it's so much money. But will it even matter? You went with 30k? Yeah, that's insane. So we saw the entire army of Khorne. There it is on the field. We have a Blood Shrine of Khorne too to offer a bit more melee attack and leadership. 2 Minotaurs with great weapons. We do have Scarbrand, and he brought his Self-Rampage that gives him more damage. He brought AoE Rampage, and then he did bring Slaughter and Carnage, which I hate that ability, but fine. On the other side, the Dark Elves brought Cold One Knights, Cold One Dread Knights, 3 Dark Riders with Peter Crossbows, and more Cold One Knights, 2 Harpies, and a Supreme Sorceress of Dark up on her dragon with Soul Stealer. The Ogre Kingdoms brought some Mournfang Cavalry with great weapons. Looks like 3 of them. I saw a double giant in there. It's a double giant, and then a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with only his heal and some Noblars. And then the Warriors of Chaos brought their own giant, a Mutal Vortex Beast, a Sorcerer of Metal with the Tormentor's Sword, Net, Final Transmutation, and then a front line of Chosen of Nurgle with great weapons. Oh, and we do have a Man-Eater Pistol in here. Only 1 heal caster? I mean, it's Troll Guts. It's pretty darn good. And you have Soul Stealer, which heals up the Dark Elf Sorceress, but yeah. This is such a cool concept for fights. Yeah, Lucinia did a good job. Now, hopefully CA can do a good job at nerfing healing, like I've been asking for so many times, but they don't want to do that. Not a heal blob after all. I mean, they still have the Overcasted Troll Guts, and they have Supreme Sorceress of Dark with her Soul Stealer, but not an AoE heal, you're right. Tormentor's Sword, Net already onto the Hounds of the Blood Hunt to try and allow the Man-Eater Pistols and the Dark Rider Peter Crossbows to get some shots onto them. Mutal Vortex Beast is also going to wander out here and give him a slap. But we'll see how much that matters as the Gold Chevron, Skull Crushers, and Flesh Hounds are teaming up on the Cold Knights. And, that's looking pretty one-sided as Skull Crushers finally live up to their promise and start deleting some cav. All it takes is triple gold chevrons, which I'm sure is nice and cheap and affordable for everybody involved. Looks like a Troll Guts is getting cast on the Cold One Knights already, but they tear out away as Khorne's Bloody Fist dives in, and Khorne is really trying to punish this overextension from the enemy cavalry. But a huge Final Transmutation Overcast hits so many units from the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal. That is a really good cast, as some Skull Crushers are already getting deleted. But it's still going in Khorne's favor. That blob fight is so good for them right now. As the main horde is just kind of standing over here, a lot of their cavalry component is getting isolated without that infantry support, and they need to move over here and help out if they can. Mixing infantry blobs with cavalry is a bit tough to execute. So 2 Mournfang Cavalry are routing. A Cold One Dread Knight and a Cold One are pretty much dead. But what has Khorne paid for it? They did lose one of their Skull Crushers almost entirely. Fleshhounds are not feeling too good. Otherwise, they're doing fine. Exalted Bloodletter's Khorne are starting to engage and getting picked off. They'll probably die here very soon. Khorne's going to take a little bit of time and just run off these expensive cavalry pieces and actually make sure they leave the map. As the Skull Crusher Regiment of Renown finishes off another Cold Knight with the help of Scarbrand. The Harpies of the Dark Elves are diving in to deal with some of the Marauder Horsemen, and they get a lot of damage down before Khorne countercharges them. And then the Fleshhounds and Skull Crusher should have a good time. But the Harpies are not demonic units. They won't, like, crumble or anything. They can just fly away, as usually they will get out of there. Soul Stealer onto 3 Chosen of Khorne. Nice damage value. I wonder, has this lady used any of her breath attacks yet? Yeah, she used one. Alright, cool. Khorne did lose an Exalted Bloodletter. We saw it in there. It disappeared. Fleshhounds are trying to run down some of these Dark Elf Cavalry who are trying to fight back, but Skull Crushers get a rear charge on these Cold and Dread Knights, and that should be the end of them. Meanwhile, Khorne's Bloody Fist is getting shot at by those Repeater Crossbows, but the Repeater Crossbows have had a tough time really finding a place to sit and fire. They're sitting now. I wonder if they're too clumped up they're going to get in their own way, but it doesn't look like it. They're getting good shots off. Khorne's Bloody Fist is taking a ton of damage. Scarbrand's getting dove on. He does pop his AoE Rampage, and he's hoping to keep the Supreme Sorceress of Dark on the ground where he can hit her. He's actually going to try and wander away, deciding he doesn't want that fight after all. Minotaur's Khorne diving in, but the single entities are tough to take out. There's 3 giants here, plus the Mutilate Vortex Beast. That's going to be a lot of damage coming your way. Another giant Final Transmutation. It's not Overcast this time, but still, it hits a ton of great targets. Another Soul Stealer will hit Scarbrand, it appears. Ooh, wow, a Troll Guts used on the Dark Elf Sorceress. I don't know about that. She can only heal herself with Soul Stealers. And if she uses her Soul Stealers just for healing, she can heal cap herself. So I don't know about using your limited healing on her like that. That makes me spooky scared. Another Breath Attack comes out from her, this time onto Scarbrand. Probably should have just focused it on the Chosen. But it looks like they are trying to snipe out Scarbrand. Fleshhound's trying to deal with the Dark Rider Pure Crossbows, which are kiting back, staying out of range. The 2 that aren't being attacked stop and fire. What is that? Soul Stealer does hit the blob of infantry units. Khorne is falling behind on the balance of power, and I do tend to agree. As Khorne's Bloody Fist, I believe he is dead. Yeah, he's dead. Knights of the Brazen Throne are pretty healthy. Hounds of the Blood Hunt still have some healing left to give themselves. We have some Skull Crushers who are still healthy-ish. And Marauder Horsemen throwing axes are once again harassed by these Harpies. Scarbrand gets attacked again by the Sorceress of Dark, but he's not attacking back just yet. He had attack orders onto something else, and then she landed on him, so it looks like he didn't fully know what was happening in that moment. Fleshhounds do catch one of the Dark Rider Pure Crossbows and will finish them off, although Khorne's Marauder Horsemen find the other ones, but they're just so injured that the Dark Riders peeled for themselves. Skull Crushers, I'm kind of surprised they're not rear-charging these Chosen of Nurgle and Man-Eater Pistols or anything like that, but Khorne's getting some decent damage down here. The Ogre Man-Eater Pistols have taken a lot of damage. The Chosen of Nurgle have taken a lot of damage, and one of the Giants is just about dead. Troll Guts is healing him up to try and keep him back online, and the final Breath Attack from the Dark Elf Sorceress is in onto Scarbrand once again. It does not really hit, but a big Final Transmutation will. And is not Overcast, it is Undercast, but it hits 2 different Chosen and Scarbrand. As Scarbrand tries to take out the Mutilate Vortex Beast, he gets dove on once again by the Dark Elf Sorceress. Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal is taking out the Blood Shrine, and some Marauder Horsemen throwing axes trying to jump in and help out. But where are the Skull Crushers? What have the Knights of the Brazen Throne been doing? I just keep seeing them wandering around, and maybe I miss all of their charges, but they really need to commit to a fight, because the fight is happening without them. Scarbrand pops his AoE Rampage the Mutilate Vortex Beast, but he himself is falling behind, and Knights of the Brazen Throne, for the love of God, get in there! What are you doing? Alright, now they're coming. But it is too little, it is too late, as Scarbrand has to pop the Tier 2 Khorne army ability to even stay alive. Relentless Rage keeping him at 1 HP. He can't die till it wears off, but it will be too little. It will be too late as the Knights of the Brazen Throne charge in now. But Scarbrand is doomed as soon as that Tier 2 army ability wears off, and without Scarbrand, this game is over. Those Minotaurs in the distance will rout just because their lord is dead. Army losses procs. Oof. I mean, single entity blobs, once again, like Slaanesh, Khorne really struggles to deal with, especially when they have healing like Troll Guts on their side, for sure. I think Berserk was fighting an uphill battle. I don't know what the Knights of the Brazen Throne were doing. That's the only criticism I have. He had a gigantic army to micro, so it is a minor criticism, where overall he did better than I ever would have done with an army of this size. I mean, I had almost half the funds he took here for my Chaos Dwarf army, and I still let my Bull Centaur Rangers get free charged by Dragon Princes and Eltharion, so like, I'm not trying to say I would do better, but it's just like the Knights of the Brazen Throne were a little late to that fight. Overall, his Skull Crushers actually did pretty well. Khorne's Bloody Fist didn't do that well. Scarbrand actually got a ton of value. Exalted Bloodletters got massacred. Chosen of Khorne also got massacred. Minos did fine. Chosen of Khorne Dual Weapons did okay. Fleshhounds got a lot of value. And the Throwing Axe Cab did okay. GG. You meant to click the Chosen Qual? Ah, I see. I see. Giants did okay. Man-Eater Pistols did amazing. Mournfang Cav got isolated. One of them actually still did well, but the other 2 really struggled. Dark Elf Sorceress did fine. Dark Elf Cav, the Repeater Crossbows did well, but their melee Cav got massacred. The Harpies were nice and annoying. And then for Count Games, his final Transcaster and the Mutilate Vortex Beast getting combined 6,000 value is pretty huge. And then his Chosen Nurgle also getting so much value. Yeah, Chaos provided a lot of the damage in this game. Mutalith Vortex Beastman. You had Nobblers for Power of Darkness food? That's kind of funny. Oh, Mutalith Vortex Beast. I hope with the Shadows of Change update they put out, they nerf the Mutalith Vortex Beast. Alright, I'm not going to forget this time. Game 4 is the green one versus Mr. Chalk, Borgash, and ICG. And it looks like he also went with the less funds equals better tactic, because these are small armies. Hey, we got Skaven. Skaven, Coast, and Lizardmen versus Beastmen. This is our first Beastmen, our first Skaven, and our first Coast today. It's our third Lizardmen? Third Lizardmen. Cool, cool. Alright, I'm going to have to pause this one because the Beastmen are nice and fast. For the Alliance army, we have Clausen Hunters, Ruperdactyl Rider, Regiment of Renown, a Slaanesh Mage Priest of Life with just Earthblood, to spam that out as much as possible. And then we do have a bunch of Saurus, some Feral Cold ones. Yes, they are all feral. Saurus Warriors. That looks like about it. Yeah, nice and small. Skaven, we have a Gracier of Plague with 2 summons, the Dreaded 13th and Vermintide, but he is on foot. We have 2 Warplock Jezzails for nice ranged pressure, 2 Eshin Triads for some stocked halberds, and then Poisonwind Globes and Skaven Slave Slingers. The Skaven brought a lot of ranged. Vampire Coast bringing an unbreakable undead front line, Zombie Pirate Deck and mobs with polearms, Lamprey's Revenge and Animated Hulks. Then we do have a Vampire Caster with summons and Invocation of Nahek. And the Drowned Dead is limited 4 uses? I thought it was 7. Did they nerf that a while ago and I just forgot? It sounds like something I forgot. On the side of the Beastmen, we do have 4 flanking Centaurs. Very, very good light cav unit. A whole bunch of Minotaurs, 5 of them in fact. 2 of which are shielded. One of the shielded ones is the Butcher's Accountant Guard. The other 3 have the great weapons, so the anti-large. 4 Zongors, the Destroyers of Drakwell, the ROR, Spearmen, and then 4 more Centaurs with Throwing Axes, Malagor, Dark Omen with only Flock of Doom up in the sky, and he is going to spam out spells as much as possible. Skaven shooting should be pretty difficult to keep online with this many mobility assets running around. And the undead aren't the best at stopping cavalry from doing whatever they want. Centaurs are going to pinch in some Feral Cold ones. Good play there. That'll kill those guys off pretty quickly. The other Feral Cold ones are also taking a bit of damage. First Flock of Doom is out. Onto the globes and slingers and whatnot. But Minos are coming in hot. We'll see how well the Coast can stop them. Animated Hulks eat the charge, and then Polearms are wandering over, trying to get a little bit of damage out, while Jezzails continue to fire at those guys. Elsewhere, the Destroyers Drakwold are already routing, but we do have a bunch of Minotaurs hanging back. I'm worried these guys are going to be a little late to the fight, as the Beastmen seem to just be engaging one flank at a time, but that also allows the Skaven to focus fire one flank at a time. They've already killed off a Minotaur. But the Centaurs are doing really well. They've shattered a Feral Cold one, routed another one, and they are streaming in now to get some damage. Charging onto the Poisonwind Globes, getting a lot of damage down there. Slingers also almost routing, and now these Centaurs are going to suicide dive onto the Warplock Jezzails. The summon is coming out, but it might be too little, it might be too late. Centaurs are past it by the time it really shows up. And they get in here, but they look like they were targeting the Gracier, not the Warplock Jezzails, so they don't actually get the charge damage on the Jezzails. And then the Lamprey's Revenge plus the summon are able to rout them off, so pretty nice stuff from the Alliance team there, keeping things alive and healthy. Saurus Warriors peel off the Centaurs in the backfield. Other Centaurs are running away. One of the globes is shut down. Slingers are almost dead. And these polearms are taking damage, but they're undead. They're not going anywhere. They'll stand and fight. The other Minos are getting involved now, except for the Butchers of Accountant Guard, and these Throwing Axes are all being left behind a little bit. Malagor's still trying to get some work done. Bounce Power is about dead, even though I'm getting very worried for the Beastmen, as this piecemeal feeding in is not usually how they want to do things. They really want to overrun one flank or something. Globes throwing into Minos. They want to be careful because there are way more of their units in this blob than just one unit of Minotaurs is worth. Like, they're killing off their own Triads and Slingers and the Animated Hulks, but I appreciate just wanting to kill off the Minotaurs. Clan Rats desummon. There's a Dreaded 13th getting summoned on top of the Minotaurs, but Minotaurs can't just walk away. Ooh, they will get wrapped up in the Lamps Revenge and the Colossus Hunters, so that's going pretty fine for them. I think the beastmen are in a tough spot right now, to be honest. It's looking pretty brutal. Polearms fighting it back against these Centaurs with throwing axes and Minotaurs. And they are undead polearms, so don't worry about that blinking leadership bar. They don't care about it. Centaurs have rallied to try and get the Jezzails once again, but they are routed off. Triads dealing with these Minotaurs, great weapons, and they're also going to get going. And then with the Skaven, that leaves you with a Globe, a Jezzail still alive and doing okay. A zombie summon is out to fight the Zongors. The Stormrunner with halberds also need to turn around and probably fight the Zongors because they can't really chase down the Minos. And these globes have to be super careful not to bomb their own blob that is formed there. Vampire Coast front line is now starting to die off, though they've bought a lot of time for their back line. We still have the healthy Butchers of Kalkengard. We still have a bunch of Centaurs with throwing axes. And if this game gets stalled out, where the Jezzails and Poison Globes are dead, then the Beastmen can kite with a whole bunch of Flock of Dooms and throwing axes and stuff. Calling the Hordes Alliance is bad for Warcraft people. I don't know Warcraft stuff. Triads need to turn around. They can't run down the Minotaurs. They're slower, and there are other things that need their attention. As Skaven Slave Slingers also need to be rallied and turned to fire at those Centaurs. Bounce power is in the red team's Conglomerate favor. How about Conglomerate? Is Conglomerate allowed? I'm saying Conglomerate. Poison Globes trying to hit some Minos on their way out. Minos, monster infantry in general, aren't that affected by globes. They still take damage, but not as much as other unit types. Colossus Hunter's going to dive in there. Slaanesh Mage Priest of Life still can spam out heals, Earthbloods, and Earthbloods can affect undead units, whereas Invocation of the Heck can't affect living units, so the Vampire Caster can only heal his own guys. Minos routed off by a big sandwich of Lamprey's Revenge and Colossus Hunters. Ash and Triad still trying to just join the fight for funsies. The Beastmen have stabilized their losses on the Balance of Power. It's been about the same for quite a while, why I'm getting concerned. And the Balance of Power is inflated on the red team by a lot of summons getting burned. We have 1 Dreaded 13th and 3 Clan Rat summons left. For zombies, we have only 1 summon left in general. That is helpful. The Slaanesh Mage Priest with his Blood Statue despite doing so much damage to Centaur ROR, also got hit with a little bit of Poison Wind action. That's brutal. Brutal stuff. Big Flock of Doom from Malagor tries to hit a lot of units, and he does hit them. I guess I shouldn't say tries to hit them. It's not like he has a chance of missing. But the Beastmen are in mass exodus. They have 3 Centaurs with throwing axes left that are healthy, and everything else on the battlefield is completely fucked. For the Conglomerate, for the Smorgasbord, for the Mixed Bag. Oh, they have the Butchers of Kalkengard. They were just off screen at the moment. Anyway, for the Mixed Bag, Skaven Slaves are just going to die out there, so I'm not even going to count them. They have an Eshin Triad that's at half HP, full health Saurus Warrior, another full health Saurus Warrior. Ooh, that's brutal. Full health Lamprey's Revenge, half health Colossus Hunters. All 3 of their lords are full health, and that's about it. Ooh, full health Eshin Triad, wandering the wastes, trying to return home. But the Butchers slap down that Eshin Triad that got isolated. So Green One still has Flocks of Dooms. He still has a bunch of throwing axes to use. I don't think he's out of this game, but he's definitely disfavored. He's definitely down. Throwing axes can deal with the Lamprey's Revenge if they're given time. And all 3 of these lords are melee combatants, the polearm being the best of them, but the Grey Seer and the Slaanesh Mage Priest of Life are really not worthwhile in melee at all. Can the Butchers hard carry this? Maybe. The Colossus Hunters... Oh, this is such a mistake. I'm so scared. Oh, no! I was just going to say the Colossus Hunters should just sit in the sky and wait for the Butchers to have to fight on Saurus Spears, then dive in. Now they're taking a fight where Centaurs can charge in and help out. The Butchers are not getting harassed by chaff anymore. The Colossus Hunters are going to get away, so that's okay. And, ooh, Malagor Overcast Flock of Doom, but it does so much damage on the Overcast on himself that he goes down to half HP. Colossus Hunters are also opting in onto him in front of the Butchers. I'm very nervous about this. Blood Statue of Spite is casting them for just a little bit of that extra damage, and now the Lamprey's Revenge are in. The Lamprey's Revenge would love to take this fight. They are very happy to take this fight against the Butchers of Kalkengard. Colossus Hunters need to get in and rear charge, and it looks like they're going to. Yes! Yes! This is good play! The Butchers are the last real problem you have to deal with from the Beastmen, and they got a little overextended without a ton of support. Now, there's not a ton of support left for the Beastmen in general, so it's not like, wow, Green One, just go get your chaff. I mean, this chaff doesn't exist, but This is what you wanted. You wanted to take the fight on top of some of your own chaff. You wanted the Lamprey's Revenge to help out. The Butcher's Scouting Guard are melted before our eyes, and the Claws of the Hunters are just fine. Centaur's Throwing Axe is still trying to fight it out for now. The last summons from the Vampire Coast are out. Skaven, how are you guys doing? They still have one of each summon, but I don't think it's going to matter. The balance of power is just way too low. There's nothing left that can deal with the Lamp's Revenge, even though they're heal capped, actually. But, you still have an animated Hulk. That's GG. Alright, just had to answer some messages. Malagor got 2,800 value on Flock of Doom. Most of the Minotaurs got shut down. Centaur's Throwing Axes, one of them got good value, the rest got shut down. Zongors, only one of them paid for themselves, the rest really struggled. Melee Centaurs did a bit better, but that's about it. Mr. Chalk, his Giselles, overall did fine. His Triads didn't get as much value as I expected, but they were nice little support units. Globes did okay, and Slingers did well. Borgash and the front line. Lamp's Revenge did amazing. Animated Hulks did fine. And the zombie polearms, even though they didn't pay for themselves, ooh, that one did. But even though they mostly didn't pay for themselves, just having an unbreakable front line was really annoying for the beastmen. They got stuck up on it for quite a while. Cult of Sotek. Ripperdactyls didn't get as much value as I would have expected. Saurus did fine. Lifeslan offered a lot of support. And Feral Cold Ones did okay. GG. If the raid bosses are going to win this event, it's getting a little risky, because out of a best of 7, if you get to 4, you win. It's currently 1-3. Oh, boy. We'll see. What is this? More Skaven. Okay. Okay. Fuck! I forgot to tell who was there. Damn it! Hold on. I got this. I got this. I can see it in the YouTube. It's Nemeth on the High Elves, Karasi on Ogre Kingdoms, Honor de Balzac on Skaven, and Stormrunner as the Wood Elves. Got it! I got it. I used my brain because YouTube has a delay, so I can go back and check it. That's funny. Looks hard for the raid bosses. Some of us manage. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? For the Wood Elves, large army. We do have the Lost Sylvan Knights, Great Stag Knight, Regiment of Renown, Ethereal, Wild Hunters of Khorne, a bunch of Glade Riders, the Wardens of Sithril, Wildwood Rangers, also Vanguard deployed. Okay. Triple Waywatcher, including the Hawkeyes of Jakira, also Vanguard deployed. Little risky. If the High Elves know you're back there, they do have Cavalry, Ogre Kingdoms too. And some Blade Riders. So a lot of Vanguard. And then on the other side, over here, we have a Blade Singer, 2 War Dancers, 3 Glade Guard, all with Hagbane tips. We do have Dryads and Treekin as a front line. Then we have a Branch Wraith with Earthblood and Melkots, and then Durthu with a lot of spells. Flock of Doom and Pan's Propel. 4 spells between your 2 casters seems like a lot. But Skaven are D tier? It's true. It's true they are. On the side of the conglomerate, we have a Slaughtermaster the Great Maw with the Maw, and then Troll Guts. Noblars for a front line with some Ogre Bulls and Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists. And then we do have 2 Gorgers off in the distance. And 2 Saber-Tusk packs. For the Skaven, we have double Warp Lightning Cannon, the Avalanche Mortars, a Poison Globe, 2 Rat Ogres, another Foot Gracier, this one of Ruin, with Howling Warp Gale, Warp Lightning, and a Warpstone Scroll. And another Poison Globe. Looks like that's it for the Skaven. And then for the High Elves, we have Spearmen, Silver and Guard, 2 regular archers, an Archmage of Life with Earthblood and Awakening of the Wood, 2 Illyrian Reaver archers, and 2 Silver Helms. Alright. What else is the raid boss and that big of an army? Yeah, you can opt for lesser more funds. Like, Berserk took the full 30k that you could, and it looks like Stormrunner maybe went with 18k, judging by how small his enemy armies are. But the raid boss can determine if they want like a huge army or just like a moderately big one. I'm worried about the Lost Sylvan Knights and the Wild Hunters of Khorne being literally on top of each other, because when Warp Lightning Cannons and the Avalanche Mortars, if they turn on them, that'll get double damage. And that's pretty expensive stuff to get double damage on, as Warp Lightning Cannons hurt the poor little guys. Weight Watchers are moving up. The Wardens of Sithril get a fight with the Silver Helms, though they take so much damage on the charge. Holy shit. And now Saber-Tusk packs are also joining the fray. After the charge, the Wardens of Sithril start to do a lot better, but for now it was rough. Avalanche Mortars look like they've almost taken out a Dryad unit, and now they're focusing on the other Dryad. Not going to fire at the Cavalry, which is fine. An Awakening of the Wood misses the Cav overall, but it does provide that army-wide healing still, and it is a nice and cheap spell. It's not like you're really suffering that much. Weight Watchers are getting into position. The Wood Elf front line, all 2 Dryads of it, have faltered, and now the Weight Watchers are in range of the Avalanche Mortars. Wood Elves are mostly in control of this backfield portion, so the Weight Watchers should be safe and sound for now as Gorgers get on the Lost Sylvan Knights and Wild Hunters of Khorne. They're getting really good damage down. The Weight Watchers will finish off the Poison Wind Globes here soon. The Avalanche Mortars, I mean. Ogre Bull's getting routed off by Durthu with Sword of Daith plus his natural spookiness. They cannot hang, and they do run away. War Dancers and Bladesinger starting to join the fight now. Both War Dancers... actually, just one. One War Dancer looking worse for wear. The other ones are fine. Durthu's getting shot. He's down to half HP from the Warp Lightning Cannon Focus Fire, but this is getting concerning for the red team. Lost Sylvan Knights taking a lot of damage, etc., yada yada. But the Skaven are about to become a useless ally, as their Poison Globes are down. Warp Lightning Cannons are under duress. And after that, they won't be much help to you at all. The triple Weight Watchers focusing down the Archmage of Life, doing a ton of damage to her. Silver Helms try and rejoin the fight. We also have some Spearmen running out to try and stop these dreaded Weight Watchers. But the Weight Watchers look like they're going to finish off the Archmage of Life, shutting down some of the healing. You still have the Ogre Kingdoms healing, but shutting down the basic healing of the High Elves and lowering the High Elf leadership a little bit. We have a The Maw cast on top of these War Dancers and the Glade Riders. Huge damage onto them, though it sacrifices the Warp Lightning Cannon. I don't care. I appreciate it for the Chad value. That means Troll Guts is going to be quite delayed, however. Wood Elves are down in the balance of power. Their Weight Watchers are still mostly functional, and Wild Hunters of Khorne can maybe peel for them, so can the Lost Sylvan Knights, maybe, possibly, potentially. But Durthu is in real trouble, and the healing of the Branch Wraith can only go to either the Lost Sylvan Knights and the Wild Riders, or to Durthu. They're not close enough for the Earthblood to hit both. It looks like Durthu is going to be going down. He is going to rout soon, as that one Warp Lightning Cannon that's still online is focus firing him. Weight Watchers will delete an Ogre Bull with Iron Fist, but Saber-Tusk packs are catching up to them. Basic Archers from the High Elves are also dealing decent poke damage. Down, down, down. Oof. An Ogre Bull got obliterated? Yeah. Durthu's Sword of Daith actually does insane damage. The Wood Elves look like they've run out of gas at this point. We have one Bladesinger left that's still cleaving through anybody that challenges them, but that's really about it as Durthu gets poked down by the Warp Lightning Cannons. The leadership of the Wood Elves is about to spike down when he dies, and it is a when, it is not an if. Lost Sylvan Knights are gone. The Wood Elves just have taken too much damage at this point to carry on. It was an admirable attempt, and he actually got pretty close to winning. But it just wasn't enough. For Stormrunner, Great Stag Knights did okay. Wild Hunters of Khorne did okay. The Weight Watchers were really good, and then they got shut down. But they did some decent damage at first. On the other side, the High Elves... The High Elves were the least flashy, I will say. They provided some consistent support. Like, the Silver Helms were annoying for the Weight Watchers. The Archers were very annoying for the Weight Watchers. But they're not, like... There wasn't a lot of, like, wow, the High Elves did this. For Khorne and the Ogre Kingdoms, I mean, his Gorgers were pretty cool. Wow, they didn't get any damage! I thought they were... I thought they would have done better, because they were sitting in the Lost Sylvan Knights and the Wild Hunters forever, so I thought they were doing good. But that Maw, the Maw from the Ogre Kingdoms is pretty pog. I fucking loved that. Sabertusk did alright. And then the Skaven. The Warp Lightning Cannon's got a lot of value just poking down Durthu and the expensive Cav. Avalanche Mortars did fine versus Dryads and stuff. Globes did pretty well, so. Yeah. GG. GG. And that actually determines the winner. The Hordes win. The Hordes win. But I'm still going to cast the other two replays, obviously. I do have a little sideshow I want to show you real quick. One second, let me find it. I have a video coming out in a while, like 2 weeks. Because when is this listed for? I forget when it's listed for. But Stormrunner, the same guy that just played Wood Elves there. There's a video that comes out, but like, look how much fucking damage Durthu does in this replay. Not the whole thing, like, but it's just at the start. He overcasts Flock of Doom and the Sword of Daith. And it's kind of nuts. It's wild how much damage it does. So he's going to walk up here. I don't want to miss it, but I paused to talk about Hawk Riders briefly. Okay, there he casts it. So everything had like full HP. And still getting whittled down. And those are Celestial Dragon Crossbows and Jade Warriors. As he wanders in, they're all below half HP. And he just like walks in and they're already routing because they took so much fucking damage. It's insane. He took out like 3 archers, and look at the Jade Warriors that those War Dancers or Blade Singers. I forget if they're War Dancers or Blade Singers, but by the time the Blade Singers got there, they're already missing like half their HP from that Sword of Daith and Flock of Doom combo. It's actually nuts. And then this game's over in like 3 minutes, but I forget what Durthu's value is in that. I usually hover over the left-hand lord right away. Yeah, 3,300 value. 3,300 value in a game that was 3 minutes long. Like, it's kind of nuts. So when you're mentioning that the Ogre Bull shattered immediately, yeah, it probably got Flock of Doomed and Sword of Daith plus Durthu. That's because he's good at that, man. I still don't think Durthu's meta, but versus box factions I could actually see it, because he gets Vanguard deployment too, so you don't have a ton of time to shoot him before he gets there. Anyway, I digress. I just wanted to mention that. Durthu's kind of lit. Why am I being pinged? Okay, that's fine. Anyway, on to number 6. We have strat game on the Dwarves versus Dr. Nerd, Shoxy, and Bwags. With Dark Elves, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch. First Tzeentch of the day, and first time seeing Slaanesh not as the Raidboss faction. It's also first time seeing Dwarves. Dwarfy Dwarfs. It looks like Strat Game went for an awful lot of funds. Triple Gold Chevron Bugman's Rangers, Triple Gold Chevron Longbeards, Triple Gold Chevron Ironbreaker, with 3 Ironbreakers total, one of which is the Norgumling's Ironbreakers, a Hammerer, Gotrek Felix, and Thoric. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I'm guessing 24k, not the full 30. Anyway, we covered most of this build, but it is a standard Dwarven formation with just a lot more beef to it. 3 Ironbreakers, the Peak Gate Guard, and then a lot of Longbeards, Gotrek Felix, and Thoric, Miners of Blasting Charges, and then a bunch of Bugman's Rangers. On the other side, trying to take them out, we have a Sorceress of Shadows with only Pendulum. Okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate not just Soul Stealer spam. I really like seeing Dark Elves use other lores of magic, so that's cool. Slaanesh brought the front line of a bunch of cheap-ass Marauders. Tzeentch brought some beef with Chaos Warriors, double Flamer, and then a Sorcerer of Metal with Final Transmutation. That's going to be huge versus the Dwarves' clumped-up formation, but also their triple Hero Hammer, so that Final Trans is going to get a lot of value. Mutalith Vortex Beast, and then the Dark Elves brought a lot of Dark Shards and Repeater Crossbow, Reaper Bolt Throwers. Oh, and Slaanesh also brought the Eternal Entourage, a Herald, and Marauder Horseman. No healing for the Mutilith Vortex Beast. No healing at all in this game besides Felix. Felix and his passive healing when in melee. Though it looks like... trying to predict a little pendulum there. Looks like the red team isn't focusing on melee at all. They have a lot of armor-piercing ranged, including the double flamers, and they just kind of want to kite this out. They brought a limited front line to just keep their range safe, but they aren't winning through the front line at all. The Marauders are going to get wrecked. Flamers of Tzeentch moving up to get some shots on the Ironbreakers while staying out of their blasting charge range as the Searing Doom is cast. I really want this Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal to just Final Trans the Hero Hammer. I don't think Searing Doom is ever going to be cast this game. Well, okay, it is cast, but I don't think it ever should be cast this game. As Nargling's Ironbreakers take a shellacking from the Eternal Entourage, Focus Fire, and Flamers shooting in. That elite unit is down. Oh my goodness. Pendulums are swinging through occasionally, just trying to do a bit of damage, but we are running into problems. The Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch being deployed on the flank, that means the center is just getting slapped by the blasting charges and the Longbeards, and now those guys are into the cookie jar, shutting down Dark Shard, shutting down Bolt Throwers, so that is a big play from Strat Game, but honestly a bit of a misplay from the red team, deploying your elite infantry not in defense of the ranged units when the ranged units are going to carry is just a mistake. Not trying to be a dick, just being honest. Longbeards now getting charged by the Eternal Entourage. We're really liking the Eternal Entourage's kind of cheeky in-and-out play. And the PK Guard are having trouble getting involved in the game. Another Searing Doom. Really got to stop casting that. We need some Final Transmutations, please. Final Transmutations, please! Mutilith Vortex Beast and the Chaos Warriors are trying to stop these miners who have gotten into the backfield, but the Longbeards are doing good. Now, while the Bolt Throwers can't run away, Dark Shards sure can. So the Dark Elf player seems to be pretty good at keeping his Dark Shards out of danger, is just running them away from most of the problems. Balance of power is slightly against the Dwarves, and I would tend to agree. They've taken a lot of damage from all these ranged units, and blasting charges from these Iron Breakers do a bit of friendly fire on the Bugman's Rangers, but also take out an entire Marauder Horseman. Another Slaanesh, not Slaanesh, why did I say that? Pendulum. Pendulum of Slaanesh goes through. Does a little bit more poke damage on those Bugman's Rangers, but they're going to be okay. Flamer's going to try and fire at Longbeards with great weapons. Never mind, they're going to kite away as Bugman's Rangers continue to poke them down. Chaos Warriors are pushed off. The balance power is still about even as certain Bolt Throwers are getting shut down. The Dark Shards are overall still fine, firing these Miners Blasting Charges. And the Dark Elves are playing a bit of a weaving game here, as we saw this one Dark Shard run like here, then here, and now he's kind of going this way a bit, where he's just like ducking and diving through his own troops to stay away from those Miners. The range fire is still really brutal, especially for the PK Guard who are unshielded. These Bolt Throwers are providing slow, constant damage. Overall, the red team's playing well. I have noted a few mistakes. The biggest one that, if they lose this game, not to be an asshole, but it is on the Metal Caster, you gotta Final Transmutation the Hero Hammer. You have to. Please, for the love of God, stop casting Searing Dooms. Stop it. You need to kill the Hero Hammer. No. Oh, if the Dwarves get to just these 3 units and they're killing everything, I'm gonna be like, where's your Final Trans? Eternal Entourage. Ooh. Hysterical Frenzy does cause them to rampage, and while it gives them amazing stats, it also secures their death because they can't move. They self-rampaged into death. That's gonna hurt. They did do a lot of damage on the way out. Overall, they got a lot done, so they played quite well, but seeing such an expensive unit rampage itself into death is really brutal. Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh with their Hellscourge just trying to stop these Longbeards. The Bolt Fiends do get caught in those guys for a bit. Dark Elves have overall stayed mostly online. It looks like we have 2 Bolt Throwers up and firing. 2 were killed. One of the ones that's up and firing is actually under duress. We do have a bunch of Dark Shards still alive. Looks like 4 of them overall. And Flamers still kiting around a bit, trying to fire at these Longbeards who are in a nice long position, but Bugman's Rangers getting the volleys onto the Flamers is going to knock them down quite a bit. It looks like they're just YOLOing it and going to shoot the last of their shots before dying. And the Hero Hammer is here to shut them down once and for all. Bugman's Rangers do have regen. They're trying to heal back up, and their triple gold chevron stats plus being Dwarves mean their leadership is quite insane, and they're very hard to break. Mutilith Vortex Beast is still full HP. And while that is grand, while that is glorious, I'm sure Gotrek is over here just like, bring it on! I'll fight it with me axe, etc., etc. I'm gonna be a dwarf man and kill the big thing. Roar. Doom! I want a doom, please. Give me doom, sir. I think that was a good god trick. I think I did it great. Pump those dwarven legs! Alrighty. Dwarves running out of gas besides the hero hammer mostly, and there's a final transmutation on the hero hammer. Let's fucking go! It's overcast! So much damage onto Felix. A Rune of Negation is cast too to give Felix 40% damage resistance, but he's still taking a chunking from that. Tier 3 Tzeentch army ability is whipped out on these Bugman's Rangers. They're going to path their way out of it. It looks like they're trying to dodge right now. They're still kind of standing on the edge of it. They will actually get poked by it quite a bit. Mutal Vortex Beast getting shot, and I'm getting a little afraid. I'm a bit concerned. Really nice Pendulum through the Iron Breakers. Did more damage than I would have thought for Pendulum. But Red Team doesn't look like they have a ton left, and this Mutalith is taking more damage than I would have hoped, even from just Bugman's Rangers. There's no healing for it. I have to keep mentioning that. There's no Ogre Kingdoms. There's no life casters around. Hysterical Frenzy is cast on some Devoted Marauders that were kind of in the middle of nowhere. So they're now rampaging towards the target, but weird. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's stinky. They charge in. The Iron Breakers are trying to get in range of the Dark Shards for their blasting charges, but they get intercepted by these Devoted Marauders. Now, if they have Guard Mode on, maybe they can still just throw over those guys. Yep, they're just going to throw over those guys. Oh, wow, they fired at the Devoted Marauders, not the Dark Shards. Interesting. Well, now they're getting shot by Dark Shards. They're going to get hit with a Pendulum while fighting a Hysterical Frenzied up Devoted Marauder Slaanesh. So that Iron Breaker's taking some pretty good damage. Another final trans is out onto Gotrek, Felix, and Thoric. Yes! Correct spell usage! Huzzah! I maybe would have focused it onto Felix instead of Gotrek, but, like, it's fine. It's whatever. It's the correct spell. It hit 2 or 3 targets because Felix was in it for part of it. It's good damage. You just have to get out. Because in the late game grind, Felix is going to heal these guys up so much they might honestly all 3 heal cap, which is why you need the final transmutations to start just taxing that health pool nice and quick. Chaos Lord of Tzeentch is just going to rear charge Gotrek real quick here. Misses the attack, takes one in return, but he eats it on his barriers entirely. Dark Elves still have some Dark Shards with some ammo. The Bolt Fiends are actually out of ammunition. And the Dwarves are proving rather tenacious. I think this balance of power is misleading. I kind of think it's 50-50 right now. Not gonna lie. I have a lot of pings. Why? Okay, someone pinged me and then deleted it. Okay, whatever. Longbeard's getting shot by Dark Shards. We're continuing to kite them out. Mutalith Vortex Beast retreating for now, but he's only at 4,000 HP, which means, I mean, Gotrek can whoop his ass in melee. Some Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch trying to go fight Iron Breakers. 32 of them with blasting charges still. Could actually do decent damage, but the Sorceress of Shadows stopped them from throwing, which was pretty good play from the Dark Elf player. And now it looks like those Iron Breakers will be shut down. Bugman's Rangers returning to the fight. And you guys were making fun of me earlier saying, oh, they're pretty hard to rout. But this one has 2 models and 160 HP. He's sitting at 19 leadership, okay? It's pretty hard. Just because they're not actually unbreakable, they're still there. Iron Breakers taking forever to lose. Peak 8 guard, 9 models left, 276 HP, but they're also opting into the fight. And the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch are going to have a pretty bad time here. Mutalith Vortex Beast and the Herald of Slaanesh trying to sweep up some Iron Breakers in the distance. Dark Shards trying to return to the fight, but this has been a very close scrap as both sides are just out of gas entirely except for the Hero Hammer. Supreme Sorceress of Shadows may be overstaying her welcome as Felix is trying to close in on her. So is Thoric. She takes big damage. She's trying to get out. She does get away. Good for her. Bugman's Ranger is going to continue firing. I will fast forward for a brief period as both sides try and recoalesce. Dark Shards moving up. Bunch of Devoted Marauders. Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. And Bugman's Rangers now counter-firing against the Dark Shards. Quick little lash of Slaanesh to hurt those Bugman's Rangers, but they'll just regen off the damage. They're fine with that. Elsewhere, Ironbreakers are returning to the fight. Longbeard's returning to the fight. And the Dwarves that are still actually playing the game, we have Ironbreakers, Triple Gold Chevron, and Peak 8 Guard. The Hero Hammer, and some very wounded Bugman's Rangers who are running a little low on ammunition. There's a Final Transmutation. Thoric is not on his Anvil of Doom, so he doesn't get the free I did damage to you because you cast a spell. And once again, Gotrek is the focus of the Final Transmutation, meaning it moves away from Felix. Rune of Negation is cast anyway, and it was an undercast Final Transmutation, so honestly that's fine. And it looks like Slaanesh is now trying to take advantage of Gotrek being isolated. Bolt of Change hits Felix, but that Rune of Negation was still up, so he took 40% less damage from it. Ironbreakers stuck fighting Supreme Sorceress of Shadows. They're almost routing as Dark Shards try and kill off the PK guard. Down to 13 HP. The PK guard are just eliminated outright. And the Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch is trying to stop the Bugman's Rangers from counter-firing on the Dark Shards. Meanwhile, the Longbeards, Triple Gold Chevron are moving up behind the Dark Shards. The balance of power is very fraudulent right now. Unless, what's behind me? Is it like a full health unit? What is over there? It's Longbeard's chasing off a Dark Shard. Yeah, okay. This balance of power is fraudulent right now. The Dwarves are very much in this game. As the Mutal Vortex Beast is trying to finish off these Bugman's Rangers, he will do a good job. The Supreme Sorceress of Shadows is currently getting her ass kicked by these Ironbreakers, and the Herald of Slaanesh is trying to kill off the other... Those are Longbeards, those aren't Ironbreakers. Mutal Vortex Beast draining down some of these guys with help from the Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. And the problem with this Hero Hammer right now is they aren't healing until they get into melee, so it looks like the red team is just trying to avoid Felix in melee, because if Felix isn't in melee, his heal does not proc. They're going to try and kill off everything besides the Hero Hammer and leave it for last. I wonder how much the Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch has for Winds of Magic. That Tier 3 army ability of Tzeentch earlier was okay. Bolt of Changes are okay, but I honestly, since he has Final Transmutation, I think he should only be using the Tier 1 Tzeentch army ability for more Winds of Magic power reserves on cooldown, so you can just get as many Final Transmutations on the Hero Hammer as possible. The red team is down to mostly their 4 single entities, only one of which is a combat single entity in the Mutal Vortex Beast. We have 2 hybrid combat in the Herald of Slaanesh and the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch, and then we have an absolutely not a combat entity in the Supreme Sorceress of Shadows. The Dwarves still have some Bugman's Rangers with their regen, then they have their Hero Hammer, all of them designed for combat as the Mutal Vortex Beast dives in. He tries to get a hit on Felix, but he misses. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord is also in. The Herald of Slaanesh is offering a little bit of support here as best she can. Mutal Vortex Beast takes a big shot. His barriers are gone. He takes a bunch of hits in a row. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord is in here fighting. Bugman's Rangers getting drained down by the Mutal Vortex Beast, but they're taking a bit of damage in melee combat as well. And Felix is isolated. Disoriented lowers his melee attack and melee defense. I keep forgetting that Mutal Vortex Beast has also an AoE aura that decreases people's stats because it's so fucking overpowered. Why do you also have supportive stuff, you stupid fuck? Alright, no. This bitch has an AoE debuff he applies to people that also does damage. He has a Mortis engine, and he has an AoE buff he gives to everybody else, while also being an anti-large armor-piercing duelist. Why? Why would you do that? CA, this is stupid. You made a stupid unit. Anyway, Felix is routing. He sometimes offers healing, sometimes not, because it depends on when a model is in contact with him and he doesn't have that agency anymore. He is almost dead, but so is the Mutalith Vortex Beast as Gotrek takes his will out upon it. But it's getting scary for the Dwarves. If Gotrek dies, Thoric is not that good of a melee combatant that he can take out a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch or whatever. Gotrek is a lot of the value, and Gotrek's heal procs and it just kills him! Ah, you wish it just, like, if you're the Dwarves, you just wish he didn't have the heal proc at all as it just fucking murders him! Have you listened to the Dwarf Metal album by Windrose? No, I haven't. At this point, it's all over but the crying. Even without the Mutal Vortex Beast, Thoric just can't beat all of these characters on his own. He could maybe beat the Dark Elf Sorceress. It would be a close fight with the Sorcerer of Metal, but, I mean, there's still a Herald of Slaanesh here. They all gang up on Thoric. He's doing what he can, but it's just not enough. As he kills off the Supreme Sorceress of Shadows, more Ironbreakers rejoin the fight. But Thoric's doomed. That was a very close game. That was a very, very close game. That was good. That was good as far as dwarf games go. Bugman's Rangers getting a ton of value. Hero Hammer didn't get a lot of value. Thoric did, but like Hero Hammer in general was mostly kited effectively by Shoxy, Bwags, and Dr. Nerd. So good job on them. Yeah. Good stuff all around. For Dr. Nerd, Bolt Throwers did very, very well. Dark Shards also overall did quite well, and his Pendulum Caster did fine. Shoxy, a lot of harassment, a lot of annoyance coming out of Slaanesh. Not a ton of value, but they were very important on the battlefield. Like, those Eternal Entourage were extremely annoying in the early game. And then the Herald of Slaanesh was really good at running some stuff off and cycle charging in the late game. And then for Bwags' Zinch, his Sorcerer Lord got 2,800 value. The Mutal Vortex Beast got 2,500. Flamers barely paying for themselves after using all their ammo. And Chaos Warriors struggled a bit. So G. Alright. Will I stand alone on a throne of skulls as the one raid boss win? Or does Pigman 202 got my back as we enter the final game? Pigman versus Honor de Balzac, Zarkus, and Nemeth. I know there was some scheduling issues for this one. This was the last one to come in. So I don't remember who his original 3 opponents were, but they were having real issues getting together. So then the tournament host just opened it up to, like, whoever's available to fight Pigman, just get in here. We have Skaven, Lizardmen, and Dark Elves versus Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings! More like Doom Kings. Okay. What do we have? For the Tomb King's army, this doesn't look crazy sized, so I guess Pigman also went with the minimum funds the raid boss can have. 2 Shopty Regular, 5 Skeleton Spears, double Bone Giant, double Ushopti Greatbow, one of which is the Chosen of the Gods, triple Sepulchre Stalker, one of which is the Eyes of the Desert, 2 Screaming Skull Catapults, 3 Nehekara Horsemen, and Grand Hierophant Kotep with a bunch of cheap spells. But I really, really like this pick because you know the enemy has 3 casters and 3 lords, maybe one in the same. But Kotep is resetting all of their cooldowns whenever he casts. That's really, really good. That's 3 times the value he normally gets. For once, Arkan is not the best pick. I think Kotep is by far the best pick in this type of event where you have 3 different people you're fucking with the cooldowns. On the other side, for the mix here, we have some Skaven Slaves mixed with Dread Spears in a front line with Saurus for a bit more holding potential. Dark Shards and Globes for a bit of damage. Double Warp Lightning Cannon, which should be firing at the Bone Giants. And then some Cold One Knights. So very limited mobility on this team. Do have the Kroxigor ROR, a Sorceress of Fire with only Burning Head. Thracier with only Warp Lightning. And a Salon Mage Priest of Life with Earthblood, Regrowth, and Awakening of the Wood. Cool. Tomb Kings are feeling alright. They can outshoot the Skaven here, but it looks like they're not going to bother with the Warp Lightning Cannons. They're just going to accept that damage, which will be pretty brutal, but I guess I get it. You have other things to shoot at. I don't know what the Bone Giants are going to shoot at, but oh well. A Predictive Burning Head does come out, and it looks like the Tomb Kings are going to walk into it, so overall, nice job. And it's going to have to curve into these other spears, and it thinks about it for a second, but it comes back to neutral. Scream Skull Catapults deleting Poison Wind Globes. We saw this in my match versus Complex Slayer the other night in the Faction War, that the Scream Skull Catapults do a lot of damage to globes. Not as much to, like, Giselles and stuff, but, yeah. And the Dread Spear plus the Skaven Frontline are both already faltering quite a bit. Bone Giant is getting sniped out by Zap Zap. Nero's Incantation of Protection is going to do literally nothing for him, but the Warp Lightning Cannons both do magic damage, so they're isolating those guys out. Warp Lightning Cannons in matchup are real good. Cold Knights will start arriving, and they will dominate the flanks, unless Sepulchral Stalkers arrive to harass them. The Cold Knights should delete Nehekara Horseman, no problem at all. Kotep is casting out anything he can to disrupt the enemy's casting potentials. You can see a lot of spells trying to get started by the Salon, and then they get canceled, because I think Kotep keeps canceling them mid-cast. Yeah, there's a Tra's Incantation of Righteous Smiting that interrupted the cast once again. Tomb Kings are up in the balance power, I do agree, as the red front line is largely running away. The Warp Lightning Cannons are still doing well overall, though they're both The Bone Giants are deleting them! The Bone Giants took out most of their models. There's one Warp Lightning Cannon model left for both units combined. So even though their health is doing good, the Bone Giants won the archery fight in just taking down the Warp Lightning Cannons. And now having just one Warp Lightning Cannon, you can finish it off if you want to, but also focusing on other stuff is also completely fine. Tomb Kings are increasing their lead on the balance of power as they rout off some Dark Shards with Screaming Skull Catapults. Sepulchral Stalkers are all still safe and healthy, ready to fire at anything that breaks through the front line, like maybe this cohort of Waddle. Chosen Gods using a lot of their ammunition, but we do have a concerning break on this bottom flank. Red team is through. Rat Ogres, Saurus Spears, and Golden Knights are all breaking through. This could be Red's way back into the game. The Tomb King skeletons have faded away. One of their Bone Giants is also dying. This is the best chance for the red team to turn the tide. As Saurus Spears get onto the back line, they are a very tough customer to get rid of. And one of them's even getting healed up by a regrowth, which means the Screaming Skull Catapults are on a limited time frame. If all of your ranged units that can run away from the Saurus do, the Saurus will end up on the Screaming Skull Catapults and get good damage down there. One of the Bone Giants is officially dead, but the cohort of Waddle, they might have wanted that regrowth more than the Saurus Warriors who actually got it, but I could see the Lizardmen being frustrated about not ever getting to cast, just like, regrowth, fuck it, that one! And just getting a regrowth out before Kotep reset them again. Rat Ogre's trying to disrupt this backline, though they are not nearly as tanky as the Saurus, and not as big of a threat. The cohort of Waddle need new orders. They seem to just be AFK for the moment, sitting in front of Sporkle Stalkers, which is not good for them at all. Saurus Warriors have reached the Screaming Skull Catapults. Do they even stop and kill them off, or do they focus on the Ushapti Greatbows and the Sporkle Stalkers instead? Golden Knights have killed off a Nekar Horseman, and they're now starting to move on to the Constructs, which is a better target for them. The Ushapti Summon is out. It is temporary, but it is out. And both of the melee Ushapti that were in the original build are actually still on the battlefield. Joff's Incantation Cursed Blades will once again set the red team on cooldown, and it is looking like a desperate sight for the red side if they want to win this game. Nagash's weakness is true power. What up, Hammond? It's true. The Tomb Kings are true power, apparently. As they're doing well, the red team is in mass exodus. All of them are routing pretty much, besides the cohort of Waddle, who have 4 leadership right now. There they go. There they rout. Saurus Spear gets hit with a Skull Storm. Cold One Knights are pushed away, and I think that is GG. I think we'll get our second raid boss win. I believe. Because I don't see anything the red team can do here. Scream Skull Catapults routing off a bunch of stuff. Saurus Warriors being persistent. Ushapti did fade away. And they kill off a Screaming Skull Catapult. That is really it. We still have 2 Sepulchral Stalkers very healthy. An Ushapti Greatbow very healthy. Bone Giant very healthy, though he's out of ammo. And the Chosen of the Gods are off on one side just firing in. That is GG. Raidboss get their second win out of the Tomb Kings of Pigman. Bone Giants did well. Sporkle Stalkers did very well. Ushapti Greatbows did fine. Melee Ushapti did well. Screaming Skull Catapults also did nicely. Nekar Horsemen mixed, but overall pretty darn good. The Skeleton frontline died. For Honor de Balzac, Rat Ogres did okay. Warp Lightning Cannons did okay. Globes got mostly shut down by those catapults. For Zarkus, that army looks tiny even by Lizardmen standards. So, alright. And then for Nemet, the Dark Elves had a really tough time doing much. The Dark Shards did okay, I guess. Golden Knights couldn't get onto the back line like they wanted. But GG. Have you listened to Warfront album by Windrose? I have not. So what are the rules here? It's a 3v1. Both sides have the same amount of money, so the one person has 3 times as much money as each of the individual armies, but then, I mean, you're fighting 3 players, so their micro is probably going to be better. And that is it. So the end score was the Hordes, the Unwashed Masses, won 5 games. The Raid Bosses won 2. Myself and Pigman holding up the standard. Alright, that's all I have for you today. Next stream is scheduled. It's the Faction War Qualifier tomorrow. Big one. I have to get going. There's much I have to do before I have friends over to play board games for a Christmas party. Alright, I'm leaving. Go away.